If you think about action, probably Canary. White Canary has the most action experience as far as fighting, but overall leadership, yeah, I think that Ray might want to take on some of that responsibility, being that he was the CEO of a company and successfully, has done all that and knows the qualities of a team that are the best qualities about a team. So I don't know how well that's going to work for him when he's got Heatwave and Captain Cold and Canary, who might be a little deranged. That might frustrate him, but I think at least at first he'll probably try to take on that role and be the brains next to obviously Dr. Stein, thank you. Long day.
In the Arrow, when you try to be a bit of a tough guy and go up against Ollie Queen, it doesn't work out entirely well for you.
Right.
I mean, yes, you're powerful, but it seems like he's smarter, he maneuvers a little bit better. Do you think that since we saw Ray last, that he's kind of toughened up enough to deal with guys like Captain Cold and Heatwave and really kind of have that tougher exterior?
I think he knows a little bit more what it's like to be a hero in his few ventures since his first encounter with Oliver. He's learned a little bit that it takes more than just brains and a suit. You have to have a little bit of strategy and actually know a little bit of physical prowess in knowing how to fight in case that's the last line of defense. The journey that he's been on, leading up to Legends will be interesting, and I'm not exactly sure what it is. After Queen Consolidated exploded, he's been on his own journey as a very small person. So I don't know yet exactly what that backstory is going to be, although I think that will come to light, that his experience while he was shrunk down, and that will play into who he is when he comes back to full height.
Is this surprising you, this whole thing with your guest stars, like, oh, come on, you wrestle with the decision to play the Atom, you come on, and now suddenly you're not only on a main part of Arrow, but now you're spinning off into your own show with these other guys.
Yeah, well, not totally surprising. I didn't think it would happen in this way. I thought that maybe it would be like truly the Atom show or something, or that I would go back and forth between Arrow and Flash and kind of be just on both shows at the same time. Because when I had my initial meeting, because they spun Flash off, I thought, well, if we do this way, right, maybe there's something else, or I'll continue on Arrow, either one. If I like this character, I'll be happy to continue doing it in whatever capacity. And I love the character, so I'm happy to be doing it whatever capacity. And I think this is actually the best case scenario, because although having your truly own show is great, it's a lot of work. And so I think this is perfect for me. Share the screen with a lot of other very talented people. We'll all get the limelight a little bit, and it's going to be ultimately even more epic, because not just one superhero per show, it's 6 or 7 or 8, whatever we have on one show. The possibilities are kind of endless, and then they keep building and bringing more new characters into Arrow and Flash, and then they'll show up in our show. So it's a self-feeding, machine.
What is the fascination, do you think, with heroes that instead of get big and are the strongest and can pound, city lockdown? What is the fascination with heroes that can shrink down to microscopic size or ant size or whatever? Why do we love that? What is this fascination there?
I don't know. It's just something we haven't really seen before, with obviously Ant-Man, and I don't know that bringing Adam onto CW was in response to that in any way or not. Or just happy coincidence in one way to have two of these characters kind of coming to light at the same time. But it's just something, it's unique, and it's something that we really haven't seen before. I mean, we're going to do all kinds of fun things with the shape-changing thing and how a fight goes and how Ray can change the course of battle, as the season and the years progress. So just something different and more unique, and I'm sure there's like a metaphorical aspects to it as well. You don't have to be big to take the guy down, and David versus Goliath and all those things.
How does the filming of the shrinking sequences work for you? Are you just in a green screen room, or?
Well, we've only done it once, and essentially if I recall, they just kept moving the camera back and changing the lens and moving it higher and higher. And I just looked up, changed my face a little bit, and then I looked smaller, and they did something, computers. But for me, that was all it was. It was like, okay, step out, change the lens, step back in, shoot this way, step back out, do that. I would imagine mostly from now on it's going to be, I did a body scan, head scan, and so it'll be CG, a lot of it. So I'll just be in my trailer reading a book.
Talking about the explosion at Pharma Industries, will we see that being dealt with in Arrow, or will we have to wait till Legends of Tomorrow?
Oh yeah, I think so. I mean, there's going to be some kind of aftermath, I would imagine. I don't know anything about that. When that storyline enters Arrow season 4, I just know that from my perspective, I don't know if I'm there, if I've escaped the building, or where the heck I am. But I would imagine that Queen Consolidated is dealt with, and possibly Felicity's acquiring the company now that Ray Palmer is missing.
Can you talk about your own history with this material? Were you a comic fan as a kid? If so, was there a gateway character for you? Batman, Superman
I wasn't actually a comic book fan. I wasn't around them. I wasn't exposed to comics. My parents didn't. I didn't have friends who read comics. Although I collected a couple Archie comics, and then I spun into like the Archie version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So like the tame version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I collected probably 20 of those and had fun. That was my comic book collecting phase. But I collected. I definitely liked collecting. I collected football cards mostly as a kid, and then but my geekdom went to fantasy novels and fantasy video games and things like that. Reading Robert Jordan and Terry Goodkind and Terry Brooks. These authors kind of was where my fascination with.
And just to follow up on that, when in doing Superman, did you develop a kind of appreciation for the DC universe? Was there something that you kind of discovered about that universe that that you see carrying forth in?
Yeah, I mean, in a way, I definitely was a big Superman fan from the movies, from Chris's movies. And that was my love for Superman. It grew out of Superman the movie and the second film, mostly. But I think there's the nature of DC Comics seems to be a little bit more inherently not good, but a brighter, shinier, more optimistic view about life. Batman kind of is a little bit different, but that's what always appealed to me. That's essential. That's the core of Superman for me, and that's the core character for DC. And so I feel like he drives what DC is, and that's what I want from my heroes. That's what I want from Superman. And so I don't know if I'm just projecting that, but that's what I see when viewing DC properties versus Marvel properties. They all have their own, positives and not very many negatives.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.